I'm Stephen John Drew from the official GonnaGeek.com show, a weekly geek news podcast that is a part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other awesome geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 423 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This is recorded live on Sunday, October 25th, 2020. It is... No, we still have one more October, don't we? Because next Sunday is Halloween, isn't it?
No, I think Saturday.
Is it Saturday? Okay, well, damn. It's the last Sunday in October.
Yeah, what's 7 plus 5?
Don't ask me to do math today, good sir.
That'd be
Don't ask me
32.
I'm Chris. Joining me today, my one good friend. My one
by the point 2.
Okay, joining me today. You guys have probably heard him, Mr. Willie Nelson, not the Willie Nelson, but our Willie Nelson.
Oh, I just heard some random bit of news about the real Willie Nelson. Are you interested?
Why don't you tell me this random bit of news?
He stopped smoking marijuana.
I don't believe this.
Now when I tell you this, I mean he really, from what I've heard, he has stopped smoking marijuana. The edibles are still okay, but he's just the smoke is messing with his lungs too much, so he's just going to edibles instead.
Okay.
He's not stopping partaking of it, just stopping of the type of way he's taking it in.
All right, that's more what I was figuring is how the hell did Willie Nelson stop getting THC in his system when he's basically been consuming it for, 60 plus years?
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, I was surprised when I heard that. I was like, wait, what? He's stopping smoking? What? Oh, wait. Oh, he's just stopping smoking it. He's still taking the edibles. It makes sense. I mean, you're up there in age. I'm sure it takes a hit on your lungs, especially being a singer.
Yeah, it's probably not great for the voice. Although this makes me really sad because we'll never get the promised sequel to Beer Fest of Weed Fest now.
I mean, I'm sure most of the drinking was done by CGI, so why not most of the smoking in Pot Fest? Was it Pot Fest or was it Weed Fest?
I thought it was... I don't remember now. It's been a while since I saw that movie. It is on my Plex server, so maybe I'll go watch it when we're done today.
I did hear a story speaking of that movie, since we're going on wild tangents left and right.
Wild tangent show. Do it.
Apparently, Quentin Tarantino, during the shooting of Inglourious Basterds, made everyone watch his favorite comedy movie, which was Beer Fest.
I really enjoyed that movie.
Tarantino's favorite movie, or favorite comedy movie, as of Inglourious Basterds.
I don't think it's my favorite comedy movie, but I think it's a fun movie.
I know. I just thought it was weird as hell because I've heard, what's his name? Oh, God, he was on Freaks and Geeks. He was in Inglourious Basterds. Sam Levine.
Okay.
Yeah, he told that story. Like, yeah, he had like a screening of his favorite comedy movie during the, I guess when they were stopped shooting or something, like in the afternoon or something, or at night or something. Like,
it's interesting.
Here's my favorite comedy movie. That's my good Quentin Tarantino impression.
That was a wonderful, as far as impressions go, that's the best one you've ever done, Willie.
I mean, I want to throw an extra word in there, but I don't think it'd be very PC, but it does feel like something Quentin Tarantino would say. Depends
on what words you're going to say.
Yeah, I can't even mention it.
Did South Park riff on it with Randy Marsh saying it in Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's South Park, though. They can get away with that. Side note, since we're on the wild tangents, did you watch the pandemic special of South Park?
I have not. I have heard of it. It's on HBO Max?
It's on HBO Max now. It was on Comedy Central, so it might be on demand there.
I mean, I got HBO Max. What do I care about?
Oh, I didn't remember if you had HBO Max or not, I'll be honest. Because I probably will not have HBO Max for much longer because it's part of my cell phone plan, and I'm about to switch away from AT&T to something cheaper.
Before you get rid of it, there's a show you need to watch.
Well, let's be honest. I'm going to have to pick it back up because my wife loves Last Week Tonight. So we'll have HBO Max just to watch John Oliver.
But you need to watch the show that is Doom Patrol.
It's on my list of things to watch. I did not watch that because we'll get to it in what I'm into, but I watched all of the new season of Unsolved Mysteries the
Oh,
last 2 days. It's only 4 or 5 episodes, so it's really not
but
that great. But
I bring this up because I just had a buddy of mine. We've been talking about watching it for a while, and he's just been kind of off on it. And I was like, dude, I'm being for real, man. You need to watch this show. And then now he's kicking himself for sleeping on it for so long because he says he's loving. We're still in the first season. We're watching it together. We're not even halfway through the first season, but it is excellent.
I've heard it's really good. You've been one that swore by it. It got renewed for season 3 already, so it's on my list. I'm also waiting for Young Justice to get moved off of DC Universe and put on the HBO Max app so I can watch season 3 of Young Justice.
Is that still an ongoing show?
Yes, they renewed it again, I believe.
Oh, I didn't know it was still ongoing.
Season 3 was DC Universe exclusive after the first 2 seasons went to Netflix when it was off of Cartoon Network, I think it was. It's a delightful show. You should really watch it.
The DC Network needs to just go away.
Well, we talked about it on here. They're losing all of their live content. It's going to HBO Max, and they're turning it into a comic portal.
If you're just going into HBO Max, just go balls deep into it. Don't just dip your tip in it. Jesus Christ!
Well, that was.
I want to watch Titans. God damn it!
That was some flowery language. They were supposed to be moving it soon. I don't know how soon actually is. My guess would be probably somewhere around Christmas time because people get all their fancy new devices and want to subscribe to stuff to watch content. So why not put it all in one place to make people subscribe?
Yeah, I mean, a buddy of mine I play games with, he was saying like he has the DC Network, whatever the fuck it's called. Is that what it's called?
DC Universe, isn't that what it is?
Whatever it's called. And I would have subscribed to it, but it's not available on anything I have. It's not on the PS4. It's not. The app's not on my smart TV, so I'm like, I don't care about it at this point. Like, so I can't get it because you're not making it available to me, so I can't care about you.
Well, that's a problem a lot of people have with HBO Max because I don't think it's available on Roku yet, which is one of the most widely used smart devices out there for media consumption.
It sounds like Warner Brothers ain't that smart in putting it out there.
Well, it's a money thing right now because they're trying to work the contractual agreement to figure out what cut Roku gets and how much they're willing to give up. It's not that they're technically incapable of doing it. It's that they want they want a certain percentage of money that Roku doesn't want to give them, and Roku is of the mind of, well, people aren't going to leave our device just to get your product, and they're probably right to an extent. But when you start having things like Amazon Fire TV sticks on sale for $20, it becomes a lot more palatable for someone to be like, man, F this Roku. I'll get a Fire TV stick and then I'll be able to watch all the content I want.
Here's what I did. The first way I saw Doom Patrol, before I even saw a trailer about it, I don't even know why I got it. I bought it off Amazon for the Blu-rays. It came with the digital copies. I think the digital copies what made me say, okay, I'm going to get it. And that's the way I first watched it. I think after I got it, I didn't watch it for a while. And then I saw a random trailer pop up in my recommendations on YouTube, and I watched it. I was like, oh, that's what kind of show this is? Oh, let me put that shit in right now.
Yeah, fair.
And it was excellent. If you're curious about the trailer, I saw it was a clip. It wasn't even a trailer. Look up Wrong Muscle Doom Patrol. And that's the clip I saw that made me say, okay, you got me, show. You got me. The Wrong Muscle.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that creepy laugh about?
It's close to my real laugh. I can't really help it. It's not much of an exaggeration, but it is an exaggeration nonetheless.
Interesting.
I mean, people make fun of me. I've been called because playing games online, like my group of friends that I play with, they do say, or at least one of them, he says, "You got a Scooby-Doo laugh." It's close there. That's my real life thing. It's close enough to it. I'm kind of forcing it out right now, but I mean, that's how I laugh when someone says something good. I'm like,
okay, that's fair. So before we move into our news of the week, I need to get an update from you, Willie. Our next gen console release update or whatnot, whatever terminology we want to have to use it here. Have you yet been able to procure your PlayStation 5 pre-order?
Have they done another round of it?
Supposedly some places had like onesie twosies come up from cancellations. I wasn't sure if you had obtained
Onesies twosies.
So
No.
is your current plan still to go to like Walmart at 12:01 a.m. or whenever they first open?
Yeah, I'll probably roll in there around 11:30ish on November 11th.
Well,
And then,
you need to check to make sure that due to COVID, they're actually still operating with those hours.
all right, yes, I know. I'm going to do that too. That's a prerequisite that I thought was already
I
included in the
But
plan.
I
I
need
have
to
to
mention
pay.
that for
So
anyone that
I
may
guess
be
I have
wait,
to
wait,
pay.
wait, wait. I need to mention that for anyone that may be listening that wants to emulate your plan
No,
so that we
no,
don't
no,
get
no. Don't emulate my plan, especially if you live in my area. It's my plan. You stay off my balls.
yes, because your idea is so original here that we're talking about.
Yes, my original plan that I got from you.
So please continue with what your plan is, and I will give you some follow-up information that may be helpful.
Yeah, so I'm probably gonna roll in there around 11:30, maybe 11. And if I see a line, I'm straight out. I don't care. I'm
That's
done. I'm
fair.
not waiting in fucking line. You can screw off with that.
So here's something I would ask you. Do you have a Target near you?
Yes, but targets aren't 24-hour.
I know, but here's why I'm mentioning this: is that on the Xbox Series X subreddit, people were talking to some employees that worked at Target about how they are going to be handling pre-orders. And multiple different Target employees had said that Target will not be allowing anyone to camp out to go and get said Xboxes when they release. I assume it'll be the same for PlayStation since it's 2 days later. But any that they get that are not allocated to online pre-orders, i.e. the ones they get in store, they will go on a first come, first served basis for people to order online that day for pickup at Target because they do not want people camping out and causing potential COVID outbreaks by having, say, 20 people all clustered together outside the store waiting to get it. So the thought there is I would look at, say, 12:01 a.m.
Wait.
Okay,
So you
proceed.
can't just walk in if they have them there that are not bought. You can't just walk in there and say, "Hey, I would like this thing." You have to order it online for store pickup.
That is what these employees have
That
said in there so
I
far.
understand there's no lining up. I understand that, but to say I can't just walk in if there is no line or anything and say, "Hey, can I get that thing?" No. Oh, someone already has it. Like someone already
I
has their
think
name.
they're
Thing?
trying to cut
No.
down. They're trying to cut down on excess traffic on launch day, is my understanding.
And cut down on excess Willie being there,
So
giving them the
you're
thing.
telling me that if it was an option at 12:01 a.m. to go to Target's website and be like, "Oh, pick up this Xbox at my local Target that's say 15 minutes away," you're not going to do it because you have a moral objection to the way in which they're handling their pre-orders?
Yes, exactly.
I can't wait until November 15th when Willie comes on the show and is like, "Hey, I got my PlayStation at Target." And I'm going to go,
I will doubt that, especially if that's the case. Like, no. Like, if they have an item that is in store that no one has already have like a store pickup or anything on, like there's nothing there. Why can I not pick it up? Oh, because you can only order online. No. I'm here right now with money in hand, and you're not taking it
So
because
Willie, I'm
of
not
stupid.
100% sure that that's the case, that they're not going to allow that to happen. However, if it's a matter of at 12:01 a.m. the stock that is allotted for that store goes available online for store pickup, it is entirely likely by the time you get in when Target opens their doors at 9 a.m., those are all sold out anyways. So it becomes a moot point.
Well, I mean, then that's on them. I mean, I understand that. Hey, I wasn't there for it, so that's on me.
So that's why I was going to
Me
suggest
being
to
there,
you, hold
they
on.
wouldn't let me get it. That's on them.
So what I'm going to suggest to you then would be at say 12:01 a.m. Go to your Target website, go and look up the PlayStation 5 and see if there's any available for pickup at your nearby one. And if there is, run your order and just go pick it up when they open and problem solved. You've had to
Please,
put minimal effort into things and you get your PlayStation.
see, the problem with that is I'm probably gonna be splitting this cost in half, like with half cash and half card here.
Well,
That's the
that's where it's a problem then.
Yeah. I'm sorry, brick and mortar stores can't have brick and mortar solutions to this fucking bullshit. That's all I got to
That's
know.
all you got. Well, I don't know what to tell you there, Willie. I can't help you in that regard.
I don't feel I'm in the wrong in this.
No, but you're also an edge case as to how most people are operating on this one, and it's hard to accommodate all edge cases. So it's entirely likely that you're going to get screwed in this process, is what I'm saying.
And And I'm already compromising my morals by going to Walmart in the first place anyway, because they're the ones that screwed up this whole pre-order fuck up anyway.
Yeah, Walmart really effed you over if you're a PlayStation fan.
God. Well, to be honest though, I don't think I was going to be in line early enough, even on the first day. Even if they didn't do that, I don't think I would have had enough.
Right.
Looking back at it,
So
but still, should have done that.
So I need to give an update on my next gen console pre-order status here, and I think I talked about it on this show last week, which was I had successfully pre-ordered what I assumed was a pricing mistake off GameStop's website of an Xbox Series X with 2 years of Game Pass for the price of the Xbox itself. Lo and behold, they finally canceled that, saying it was a pricing mistake. They sent me 3 cancellation emails, but it didn't show up as a canceled order until after I got the 3rd email. So it took 3 emails for it to actually officially get canceled. And it's just one of the many website problems they had this week, because did you see this one, Willie, that for about 20 minutes, it was either Thursday or Friday night, everything on GameStop's website was free. It had a purchase cost of 0.00.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone got everything they ordered.
It was all canceled, but it's just more of the ongoing issues they've been having with selling things properly on their website, because they pretty much put Xbox bundles on sale for 3 days before they realized they were on sale. So there were a bunch of cranky people like, oh man, F GameStop, I'm never shopping there. And part of me understood where they were coming from, but more it's like, honestly, what are they supposed to do? They don't have the stock. They can't fulfill the orders. It's not like it's a matter of them being like, we don't want to pay this price. It's more of, we don't have the hardware to be able to fill all of these extra orders because Microsoft hasn't manufactured it yet.
I mean, I've also kind of stopped shopping at GameStop anyway, mostly because I'm digital only, because it's just more convenient that I don't have to drive out to GameStop, but also because GameStop is now 75% game related or just anything nerd related merchandise, and I don't like that.
They've pivoted more to their Think Geek roots.
And I'm angry at that, and I don't like it. I'm going there for games. And then when all these walls were filled with games are now filled with plush bullshit, I'm done.
I've gotten some decent deals online for some stuff, like copies of Borderlands for like $6 and stuff like that. So I can't complain too much there. But we did talk about it on here. I don't know if you were on the show or not. Did I tell you about the deal that Microsoft and GameStop have put together now?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So there's a deal that they made. Microsoft is going to redo their entire back end, like all of their POS systems and things like that are all going to run off of the Azure cloud, things like that. But what is more interesting when it comes to the gaming side of things, and I think you might have missed this episode, is they've made a deal now with Microsoft so that every Xbox that GameStop sells, they will get a cut out of any digital games that are sold to that Xbox for the lifetime of that Xbox's use.
I have heard about that.
Now,
wonder if GameStop really got them by the balls with that one.
I don't know, because there's been no report as to how much is how much of the percentage is, rather. Is it 1%? Is it 2%? Is it half a percentage point? Who knows? But it's interesting in this regard because then it incentivizes GameStop to kind of push the Xbox more than the other consoles, some could argue.
Well, I mean, GameStop has been shady for a long time. Since there was a separation between GameStop and EB Games.
And then Funko Land also.
Well, yeah, they bought all those, got bought out, right? I think it was
I miss EB Games.
EB, right?
Yeah, I think so. EB Games was awesome, though.
You know what? I actually enjoyed GameStop over EB Games for one reason only. Because of the stickers they put on their used cases at EB Games was so annoying.
Yeah.
That was the one reason why I was like, oh yeah, GameStop is better. Because these stickers are not as intrusive. That's weird. That's the one reason.
And now they use stickers that you can't even get all the goo off the package when you take the used sticker off. It's really weird.
Yep. Why do you do this? That's one reason why I stopped shopping at GameStop. I will go there every now and then, especially like when I got a 3DS and I'll get 3DS games. I'm not gonna. Digital is nice, but if I can just go get it cheaper, bam, it's done. Switch games I was buying physical for a long time. Now I'm just I haven't really bought a Switch game in a while though. Especially because the digital for the Switch, I don't have an extra was it micro SD card or is it just an SD
I
card?
think it's a micro SD card.
Yeah, I don't have an extra one of those. I mean, if I did, boom, that'd be the solve it right there. And that's not even too expensive to go get anyway.
And they were doing bundles of them during like Prime Day and stuff. But I should point out as we wrap this up, Liberty Dude mentioned canceled, but pre-order still in place at a new price. I still have a pre-order in place at the Microsoft Store that, by all accounts, is valid and good to go. And I checked the order status; it was still marked pending, and they should, in theory, charge my credit card next Saturday for it.
Didn't you finagle that one too?
I did not finagle that one, but I did exploit the fact that people were canceling pre-orders and caught one of the canceled ones, it appears.
That sounds like a little bit of finagling.
Oh, hell yeah. I had a script written that was clicking the buy button every 2
Yeah,
seconds.
I know. You know who else does that? Scalpers. I know
I
you're
plan
not
on scalping?
I'm not saying you're scalping. Don't put the words in my mouth. I'm just saying that's the same thing probably scalpers have been done. Am I wrong in that?
Probably not. But do I care? As long as I get my Xbox, I don't really care.
Yeah, I know you don't give a about shit.
What would you rather I had done, Willie? Just sit there and kept clicking the buy button myself?
Yeah.
That's what I did with the power of my brain by copying and pasting a script that someone wrote.
Put in effort with your physical body.
Yeah, no, that sounds like too much of a pain in the ass, Willie, and I think you have too high of expectations of me.
I'm sure you have the same look about your love life, too.
Wait, what?
You heard me.
I've never had any complaints.
Physical effort.
I've not had any complaints, but whatever, man.
I'm not going further in with this joke.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable with this.
I'm not going to go down it. Let's not talk about your dick. Let's talk about my dick.
Now you know why Chris has 100 pre-orders in. Look out, eBay, here he comes. No, I am not. Even if I had extra, when I had 2 at one point in time, I planned on canceling the Microsoft one if the GameStop order, which I didn't assume would happen, came through. I had, however, talked to one of my buddies and said, hey, if you want one and you still haven't gotten your Xbox for launch, let me know and I'll try and change the shipping location on it and just pay me back for it. Or worst comes to worst, I'll have it shipped to me and then I'll turn around and ship it to you and pay me like half the shipping cost or something like that. But it's kind of a moot point right now.
Man, there's nothing really. It's weird. I don't really have any kind of want to get a Xbox an Xbox, a Xbox. I know A is right, but and sounds better.
And sounds better, but A is grammatically accurate, I believe.
Yeah, just like, oh yeah, I'll be there in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's so weird. But anyway, yeah, I have no want to get an Xbox, even though, I mean, it's just because there's no first parties that I can't get on another system.
That's fair.
Even with the whole Bethesda buyout, I don't care about any of those games.
Yeah, but by the way, third-party games are probably going to run better on the Xbox than the PlayStation. Just saying.
I mean, how much better is better?
I don't honestly know. Just in terms of raw horsepower available to it, it's the Xbox that leads the spec tail this year.
I mean, technically, wasn't the Xbox One a stronger system than the PS4?
It was not.
I thought it was.
No.
Oh. I thought it was.
No, I don't believe so.
Was not the Xbox shit. What's the Pro version? What the Pro version was called? The fucking name.
Okay, so
name.
The Xbox One X was better hardware than the PS4 Pro. And on a side note, the Xbox One X doesn't sound like an airplane taking off when you turn it on and start playing a graphically intensive game.
Well, what's funny is my PS4 Pro only sounds like a jet engine during menus.
It was during cinematics in Spider-Man where it would do that because you'd have the audio die down and then you would just hear the as it was just sitting there running. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Because my equivalent Xbox, which is the One X, which is equivalent to the PS4 Pro, it's really quiet.
I mean, I haven't really noticed it except for like a handful of times. Like, wait, that's getting whirring up pretty loudly. What you doing over there, jet engine? And that was mostly in the menu of Dead by Daylight. In the menu.
That's the strangest thing ever.
I've heard someone say like, yeah, it's because it's the processor's like running it at like 60 frames a second, and stuff like that. Like, that kind of makes sense. At least that's an answer that I can make a logical leap for, But oh well.
Yeah, I don't know.
But during gameplay, it's and since we talk about Dead by Daylight and graphical powerhouses, Dead by Daylight just had like a they upgraded the look of some of their maps, and it kind of shot down the console. What am I looking for? What's the word?
I don't know.
Not customization, optimization. Yeah, the console optimization, which is a comical thing in of itself for Dead by Daylight. Behavior, get on that. Don't just be looking toward the next gen. I know you're making it free. I hope my stuff transfers over from the PS4 to PS5. I don't have to do everything all over again.
It
Yeah,
should. You
I
have a
know.
separate login, or is it tied to your PSN account?
Oh, that's right. Since they made it crossplay, you have the little code thing for
Mm-hmm.
your name now. Okay.
So I assume you would be fine regardless of the system you decide to play on.
Yeah.
So say in theory you wanted to play on your Switch for some godforsaken reason, you could play on your Switch.
Well, I had an idea to go onto my Switch and say enabled crossplay. I was wanting to know if I'm that good, if I can go into buy a Switch copy of it, and then just play enable crossplay and beat Survivor and see if I can get back to rank 1 in that on the Switch with crossplay enabled.
Handheld mode or docked mode?
You know what? I was gonna say handheld only, but man, that seems like tiring on my hands. Probably a mixture of both, just because it's gonna be fucking tiring just to be holding it there.
And do you have a Pro controller? Because it would be far more comfortable with a Pro controller.
I mean, I do have a Pro controller, but you know what? For this case, I would only use the Joy Cons. I would put them in like the controller slot thing, you know. Or you know what? I would even venture out to even put it in like the little wrist strap ones, so they're separated. I mean, not for every time, but you know, I would for this challenge. I'd do that.
So when are you starting this challenge, Willie?
I mean, I doubt I will because
Oh,
that sounds like a lot of work. I have to go buy the game again.
well, I mean, I wonder how much it is on Switch. Let's see if we can find that out for you, and then we'll roll on into the news.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to GameStop for this, aren't I? For a used fucking copy. That's what you're looking up.
No, I was just looking to see how much it was. Dead by Daylight for Nintendo Switch on the Nintendo website. Show me. I have to do an age verification.
Oh yeah, because this is rated M for mature.
Old as fuck. That's what I should be able to put in and let me play. It is $29.99 for a digital copy of Dead by Daylight on the Nintendo Switch store.
Oh, digital. I don't have enough space for that.
Well, let me go to your favorite store's website and find Dead by Daylight there.
I mean, that would be the way I would have to do it. They always ask me, do you want to put down a pre-order for anything? Like, no, I'm good on that. I'm here for this particular reason because I can't get it anywhere else.
So Dead by Daylight Definitive Edition for the Switch is $29.99 new, or for pre-owned, it's $27.99.
And now here's the thing. The Switch version gets a unique, exclusive costume for one of the killers that's only on the Switch.
You get 4 additional chapters and 3 cosmetic packs, according to this.
Well, I mean, those are what they already have with other things. I'm talking about for the Switch, where if you just get the Switch, you automatically get this cosmetic.
Okay.
Which Trapper, which is like their first and main kind of like killer. I mean, there's better ones now, and depending on how you use Trapper, that doesn't matter. Pretty much, he just has like a green like jumper. They pretty much make it a red jumper. They only make it like a Mario-esque red jumper. It's just a red jumper. It's just slightly redder. It's just a red, dingy color. That's all it is.
Well, that sounds delightfully boring.
Yeah.
Delightfully so.
Exclusive that they get. What did they do?
So, are you going to go buy Dead by Daylight now?
No.
Oh, Willie. I'm disappointed. And to overcome that disappointment, I'm just going to go on into the news of the week.
I mean, you could also just get
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
Welcome to the news of the week. It's that part of the show where we run down in our minds what some of the most interesting geeky and or nerdy news to have popped up here in the last week or so is, and share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date. And Willie, did you want me to go first, or did you have something you wanted to toss in there?
I mean, I have something. I don't. It doesn't matter to me if you want to go first.
How about I'll go first, and then you can do yours, and I will try and pick up a third story to replace the hole where Bachman's would normally be. How about that?
Sure, if that's what you want to do, it's okay with me. I don't give a
All right.
shit.
This is live
Show.
coordination as we figure out how the podcast works live on the air. You
It's your
guys can
show,
see
man.
how the sausage is made. No, it's our
I just
show.
show up and I talk, man. That's all I
It's
do.
our show, Willie. It's not my show. I'm just the producer.
I show up and I talk, and that's what I do, man. If people want to hear, they hear it. They don't, hey, man, that's okay,
And
man.
sometimes you give unprotected advice.
Yeah, damn right, dude.
Unprotectedadvice.com for all of Willie's unprotected advice segments.
Did you really buy that?
Yeah, I bought it a year ago.
Wow, didn't I know that?
Yeah, so if you go to unprotectedadvice.com, it takes you to our website where the podcast is and brings up all episodes that are tagged unprotected advice. So I put the tag on all of those episodes, so literally you could pull every single episode of Unprotected Advice.
I'm glad that was your news of the week.
That's my news of the week. Here's where you can go listen to Willie give advice to people on the internet. No, in all seriousness, I do have a news story. Before I start diving deep into it, I'm not 100% sure that it's actually true. It's rumors. All rumors going to one site, and it's not wegotThisCovered.com because I refuse to cover any news from there, and I checked. Their sources aren't from there. But I'm not 100% sure it's going to happen because no one else has reported it. However, I'm hoping that the power of positive thinking by me talking about it makes this story come true. So when we get to the end of the story, I encourage everyone in the chat room and Willie, chime in whether you think this is actually legit or it's just wishful thinking on my part by reporting on this. But the website Small Screen out of the United Kingdom is now reporting that Micheal Keaton has signed on to star as Bruce Wayne in an HBO Max series. Now, we do know Micheal Keaton is coming back in the Flash movie, assuming that movie ever gets made, to portray Batman/Bruce Wayne in that. Now, where it gets interesting is he was on Jimmy Kimmel the other evening and was kind of coy about any other things he might be doing. He did eventually admit that they were having conversations, himself and Warner Brothers, talking about potentially some other work outside of the Flash movie. The folks that run smallscreen.co.uk said a few sources reached out to them regarding Micheal Keaton's time playing Batman in future series. According to them, he has signed a deal with HBO Max that would see him play Bruce Wayne in an upcoming series. However, there are 3 different sources that then reached out to them. They are saying the first source came in and said, quote, Micheal Keaton has already signed on to return as Batman in the Flash movie. He just signed a deal with HBO that'll see him play Bruce Wayne in a future series. Now, whether they mean future as in the series is set in the future or a series made in the future, we're not sure based off of that person's comments. Let's go to person number 2's comments that they gave them, saying, quote, Micheal Keaton has signed a deal with HBO Max to star as Bruce Wayne in a Batman series which will be based on Batman Beyond. Now, if you have watched this show in the past or listened in the past or followed me on Twitter or any of those things, you know that Batman Beyond is one of my favorite cartoon series and arguably one of my favorite animated incarnations of Batman, and I have long wanted them to make either another standalone animated movie or a movie or something like that. And there were rumors of a Batman Beyond movie, but Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins did so well that they shelved them, supposedly. So I got really excited. I got more excited when I read their comments that supposedly came from a third source, saying, we're all very excited over here. Keaton signed to star in a new Batman series with HBO Max. The word is that it's going to be a Batman Beyond series. If this is true, this is awesome. Will, you can probably remember me saying this. How many times have Anthony and I both said on this show how cool it would be with Micheal Keaton at his current age to do a Batman Beyond show where Micheal Keaton returns as the grizzled, old, retired Bruce who can't do the job anymore, but is but chooses to be a mentor to a younger man who is picking up the mantle of Batman.
I'm sorry. Did you not hear me echo the same thing?
I was pretty sure you have said the same as well. So all 3 of us have said this would be awesome. Here's the thing. I don't 100% know if I trust it since I've only seen it in one place and no one else who I more know of in regards to Geek News Sphere has reported this. I want it to be true. I can imagine in my head how much fun it would be, but I don't know that I believe it yet.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure if I believe that it's signed into detail, but could it be talked about right now? That'd be cool.
Yeah, Liberty Dude seems to have the same mind of us in the chat room. Like, yes, please have this be real. They also are not reporting who would be in line to play Terry McGinnis if that's the route they take on it.
That was my next point.
I don't know how you do Batman Beyond without Terry McGinnis, seeing as he is the Batman of the future.
You know who would be the best option?
Who would be the best option?
Tom Holland.
I don't know. He's pretty busy between Uncharted and Spider-Man.
That's gonna be my thing.
I was just going to leave it at that. I mean, it would be interesting. So here's someone who I think would be interesting, but is probably too old for the role now. That would be Milo Ventimiglia.
Chris O'Donnell. Oh,
Yeah, well. But in all seriousness, Milo Ventimiglia, who you would...
Yeah.
Did you watch Heroes, Willie?
Yeah, I know who it is.
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce it? He's also Rocky's son.
Yes, he's
And
Rocky's son in the
and
Rocky movies.
Balboa.
And he's in the This Is Us TV series as well.
Never seen it.
I haven't either, but I know he's in it. I think he would have been awesome as Nightwing had they done a Nightwing movie back in the day. He might still be the right age to do Dick Grayson if you did him slightly older. But for Terry McGinnis, as we know him in the TV show, where he's like a 17-year-old kid, 17, 18, 19-year-old kid, he's too old for that role. But he would be awesome at it if they did an older version.
Tom Holland. Would it not make sense and fit?
I think it would fit. Tom Holland has the physicality to be able to do it and the ability to do all the stunts and whatnot. It's just, I don't think it's
CGI stunts.
Well, not all of it's going to be CGI, I would assume.
Well, flying around.
They don't do CGI for Supergirl. They have her strung up on wires, for instance.
Listen, I don't give a shit about Supergirl. Although I've only seen the one episode, the very first episode. I did not like how they did it, so I stopped watching it.
That's
I've
fair.
heard since that they have changed it, and it doesn't have that same feel as the very first episode, which is the pilot, I'm assuming, which was filmed before they really had, and they had some changes. So I'm probably wrong in that, but I just didn't like how they did the first episode.
Yeah,
but yeah, okay.
I think Tom Holland would be an interesting pick. I don't think they're going to go with him for a couple obvious reasons. Let's go with the one, which is it would be way too damn expensive to get him for an HBO Max series.
He could pull like a Ian McKellen, where he has saying, "I'm Magneto and Gandalf, motherfuckers. I'm Spider-Man and Batman, dickheads."
That would be pretty cool. And the second one being, I don't know what his contract is like for future Sony Spider-Man / potentially MCU movies, because they probably signed him to what? There's rumors it was a 3-picture deal. Some people have said 6-picture deal, but that's probably all expiring after this third Spider-Man because those 6 movies included like Avengers and Civil War.
Yep.
So he might be up on his contract, but let's be honest. Even if Spider-Man doesn't stay in the MCU, the Sony would be pretty dumb to let Tom Holland walk.
Yeah. But that's also, we have to throw in the wrench in the system, but that is Sony Pictures, I should say.
Fair.
With all that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I do like the thought of Tom Holland. I hadn't considered that one, but yeah, I like that. I think they would probably go the route of a younger, more unknown actor.
Oh yeah, I would definitely be all right with that too. Yeah, someone who's unknown. Rather than like Tom Holland was unknown. I think
Exactly.
I didn't know who the fuck he was before he was Spider-Man.
Yeah, I hadn't seen any of his movies.
I just don't know anything about him.
Yeah. So if this ends up being true, it would be really cool. It would be a way to get me to be like, oh hell yeah, I'm keeping HBO Max because I love Batman Beyond. I think it is an awesome series. We can quibble about whether it made sense some of the things they retconned with the Justice League cartoon in regards to Batman Beyond. But I still love Batman Beyond. Willie, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You know what? Actually, I've heard something. I can't remember who was in talks with it. I cannot remember, but it was going to be cool. When I heard about it, I was like, "Ooh, Static Shock."
I thought that was actually happening.
I can't remember whose name they attached to it. I cannot remember.
I don't think they had a name attached to it yet, but I could be
Or
wrong.
like someone who was trying to make it into happen, not so much as to play as them, but to make it a thing. And I can't remember who it was. Oh, I just saw it too this week. I was like, ooh, yeah. God, Static Shock was such a good show.
So going back a sec to Batman Beyond, I agree with something Liberty Dude was saying in the chat, saying if you have the right writing and production level, don't quite need the star level. Yes, but also keep in mind you'll still be bringing back Michael Keaton, which you'll get a lot of buzz because it's Michael Keaton, and all the fans of his run of Batman are like, oh my god, he's back as Batman. And then just the fact that he's Michael Keaton and kind of has had a career renaissance since Birdman and become pretty relevant again.
Hmm.
Am I wrong? I mean, I didn't think so, but he didn't really do as much that we thought about.
I didn't
for a
really like
while.
Birdman, so
I mean, that's fair. But Birdman, why I bring that up, critically acclaimed, and he got a lot of buzz for
yeah,
it.
it was an interesting movie. It was just I'm never gonna watch again. I own it. It's over there.
I haven't
my
watched it
Blu-ray.
yet. I own it too because I wanted to watch it, and I picked it up like $5 on Black Friday or something.
It's all right. Like I'm not ever gonna rewatch it ever probably, but it was. I did like how they tried to make it all of them like look like one shot. I did appreciate it.
And I did enjoy Michael Keaton as the Vulture.
Which Birdman are you referring to?
Saying, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying right there. So that wraps up my news story, which is there's a rumor that I can't confirm, that I can't get you actually better sourcing on, that they might do a Batman Beyond movie. And I wanted to report on it because I want the power of positive thinking to come through and make this happen. Don't be shocked if a couple weeks from now we come back like, oh man, that's debunked.
All right, before we go to my news, let's go back to yours. Before we just leave all, like Michael Keaton is an amazing casting choice for the older role of that series.
Yes.
But you know who is not a good casting choice for an older role for another movie that's getting made right now? We just got a first picture glimpse of
Marky Mark.
Mark Wahlberg as fucking Sully in the Uncharted movie. Jesus fucking Christ. Why is Mark Wahlberg tied to this fucking movie? He was originally going to be fucking Nathan Drake himself. I'm so glad they switched from that. God, not that I have anything against Mark Wahlberg as an actor. I just don't want him in my Uncharted movie. Especially, I don't want a mustacheless Sully. I don't want a fucking Boston accented Sully. Oh, that's what I'm saying. But Tom Holland is Nathan Drake, which I'm actually okay with. They should have made this movie 10 years ago with Nathan Fillion. That's what they should have done.
Yes.
But, I mean, if you're unsure of that, if he's too old, look at the fan-made Uncharted thing that is definitely on YouTube right now, where Nathan Fillion is Nathan Drake. He is, he's a little too old for that. But I enjoyed what they made. You know, it was cool. Who the person they had for Sully there, perfect. Sounded just like Sully. Had the mustache, cigar chomping. Holy shit, that was perfect. But yeah. So the first still for the Uncharted movie came out, and this thing has been in production hell for how long? Directors coming and going
for a while now. I honestly don't know how long though.
I remember the first time I heard about it, like Mark Wahlberg's gonna star in it as Nathan Drake, and it's gonna be a family film. No, that's not Uncharted. What do you mean a family film? What? You're gonna add kids to this for no reason? Let's not have kids in Uncharted.
Well, didn't they now set it up so that it's like a Nathan Drake, young Nathan Drake / origin story kind of thing?
I mean, origin story? What, him being born? I mean,
no, that's not exactly what I meant.
There was a flashback in Uncharted 3, and there's also a flashback in Uncharted 4, but the one in 3 is further when he's like a teenager, which don't think Tom Holland's going to be. I think it's going to be when he's in his early 20s or something. But the one in Uncharted 3
makes sense because Tom Holland's what, 22?
Yeah, but I mean, hell, he also plays fucking Spider-Man in what, sophomore? As a sophomore?
Junior now, I think.
Well, now, but I mean, he was a freshman and then a sophomore.
Well, yes, but he was also 2 or 3 years younger then too.
Yeah, 2. Okay, we're arguing semantics here, Chris. Jesus Christ, is that the point? In Uncharted 3, they went flashback to he was like a tween teen, like probably 13, maybe 14, when he first met Sully, and then started getting working with him to go doing all this stuff, and then it flashes back up to normal time. I guess not flash forward because it just goes back into the present. But yeah, and then in Uncharted 4, they do a flashback to when he's in, I forget what prison and what country, but he's breaking out of it with his brother. Yeah, that one's a little bit older. It's like in the older 20s, I would say that character was. It's been a while since I played Uncharted 4. Still a great game. But, yeah, like I'm all right with Tom Holland being in it. It's no problem. My problem is being Mark Wahlberg. being Sully or Nathan Drake. Be the villain. Who's supposed to be the villain? Oh shoot! Oh god, who's supposed to be the villain? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Oh god, what other name? I gotta look this up right quick. Chris, fill time.
How am I supposed to fill time on this, Willie? I know minimal about this. I've played like
Well,
2 hours of an Uncharted game.
did you not enjoy those 2 hours?
It was
though?
all right.
Like it was pretty much playing in an Indiana Jones movie, but like a present day Indiana Jones
I
movie.
miss the old. Did you ever play the Indiana Jones game they put out on the original Xbox? It was really good. I missed that one.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. I remember then they were. I don't think it was that one. They announced that it was going to be a. They announced the Indiana Jones movie or sorry game like way back during the PS2 era, and it was supposed to be using like a new engine. I think that's what turned into. Oh god, I can't remember what game engine it turned into, but it was supposed to like it was supposed to be very like everything reacted to what you were doing, like fighting and stuff. I can't remember exactly what.
I don't know either.
Antonio Banderas is in the movie. I don't know if he's going to be the villain, but he's also attached to the movie as well.
Are you just on the IMDb right now?
No, I just Googled it and that was the
Okay.
top thing. Or it was down to scroll down. But yeah. You haven't even gotten to any like the big set pieces in the game either.
Well, I'm aware.
Yeah, those are like, oh my god, like the big set pieces are amazing. Like when you're doing the gunfights in a ship that's sinking. I'm sorry, like a cruise ship that's like turning on its side and sinking. Oh my god, that's some of the best. When you're in a plane doing a gunfight, and the cargo bay opens up as you're in air over a desert. Oh my god, that is some of the best parts of the game.
So
the
Uncharted movie, for a second going back, they're about to wrap production on it, or wrap filming, because I guess Tom Holland is going straight from filming that to filming Spider-Man. So he's going to have a busy few months after he was on set for all of that, and then going to go do Spider-Man, which they are already filming parts of Spider-Man in New York right now.
Speaking of that Spider-Man and who's going to be in it, there's a character in that movie, or an actor in that movie, should have been Sully and would have been a lot better of a character choice. That'd be J.K. Simmons as Sully.
Yeah, that's true.
That would have been much better.
Put J.K. Simmons in anything, and I'm happy, though, let's be honest.
I mean, he could grow a mustache. He'd be the perfect fit for the role. Did he have a mustache? No, he had a shaved head, right, as J. Jonah Jameson, didn't he?
Yes, because he has no hair.
No hair at all, or did he have a beard, too? I can't remember. It was just a little snippet of he was like going on screen for like maybe 4 seconds. So I can't really. So excuse me for not remembering this 4 second scene, like little.
He had a mustache. His head wasn't shaved, but he was balding. It just had like the fringe. I've just pulled up a picture of it right now while we were talking.
Yeah,
but he did have the distinctive Jonah mustache.
Yeah, and Sully has the same type of mustache.
Yeah, I'll try and put a link in the chat room.
Dick goddamn Sullivan. Oh my god, I just don't want Mark Wahlberg included in this movie. Not that I don't like Mark Wahlberg as an actor in the movies he's done. I just don't want him in the Uncharted movie.
For those watching live, there's a picture in the chat room right now of J.K. Simmons as Jonah, where you can see the bald fringe like he has in real life, I guess, and then the massive bushy mustache that you have to have if you're going to play J. Jonah Jameson.
Let me put it like this to you, Chris.
Please.
You're not having my same type of energy here. That's like instead of having Michael Keaton as old man Bruce Wayne, that's like you getting Val Kilmer's old man Bruce Wayne. But worse. Exactly! That face!
Could we get George Clooney as old man Bruce Wayne? Because Clooney was a good Bruce Wayne, but a bad Batman.
No, because that actually work.
Can we get Kevin Conroy as old man Bruce again, like we got in the Crisis crossover? Because that was also awesome.
You also Bruce Wayne and Batman Beyond?
Yes.
So why would you say that instead of the crossover?
But he would get to do live action Bruce, and all the years that he played Batman, he's only ever gotten to do it live once, and that was in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh, I never saw that.
Yeah, he was Kingdom Come Batman in it.
You're a Kingdom Come.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Do I ever know what I'm saying? But
No.
you see what I'm getting at. You see my anger level. Why I'm
Yes, I
angry.
understand.
Like Val Kilmer's not a bad actor. I hear he's
He
hard to
was a
work
bad
with.
Bruce Wayne, but he was a
I'm
good
Dr.
Batman.
Moreau. But I mean, he's entertaining to watch. Mark Wahlberg's entertaining. I just don't want him in that role.
I understand. It doesn't make sense from a role perspective.
I think Mark Wahlberg has to be a producer on this movie. That's the only reason why it's happening.
I don't know. It's
He has
possible.
some kind of money involvement in it.
You want one more news story, Willie?
I do have another news story, a little quick one.
Ooh, go ahead then.
There's a rumor that they are already starting on. Sucker Punch is already starting on a sequel to my game of the year, Ghost of Tsushima.
Isn't the DLC basically making it a new game from the way Anthony described it?
Well, there is a new game plus they put into it, where you know what new game plus is.
Yeah,
I mean,
but the way I understood, didn't they put like a co-op mode in there that basically like makes
there's
for a whole fresh game?
online co-op mode into it right now. I wouldn't say it's a whole new game. It is a whole new game mode. I would say like you're playing multiplayer. You're not playing the main character. You choose between one of four classes, and it's like a looter shooter. You're just getting loot. It's one of those loot games where you just get better loot every time you go through. It's
Okay.
more main meat of it is just a like a wave going against waves, a survival mode. That's the main meat of it. So I wouldn't say it's like a whole new game or anything. It's just another mode of it. It's fun. I played a little bit more of it. I would say getting through the waves, the rush is it's a little bit time consuming. And yeah, but I mean it is fun. I had my fun. I'll probably play it some more. I don't think I'll be like going to it as like a mainstay, like constantly back and forth to it. But it's a fun, like, ooh, I got some better gear. Awesome. Let me go use it. Stuff like that, you know.
Fancy.
I don't think it's not what should sell the game because the game itself, the main single player, this game has no monetized DLC. It's all free. So that should be something like I think most first party Sony games they didn't really have like DLC like that except for Spider Man did. God of War didn't. You got the game was the game was the game. Last of Us 2, the game was the game was the game. So yeah. So the rumor is that they're already working on the sequel, and I'm guessing you had something else, Chris.
I did. We know how much you love talking about Xbox stuff, Willie. But
I mean, I don't
you'd
mind it.
said you weren't thinking about buying an Xbox.
Nope.
But there's options that may be coming your way. They were doing an interview with Xbox head Phil Spencer talking about xCloud, and they started floating the idea of a TV stick to play xCloud games. And he said in the interview, quote, I think you're going to see lower priced hardware as part of our ecosystem when you think about streaming sticks and other things you might want to just go plug into their TV and play via xCloud. You could imagine us even having something that we just include in the Game Pass subscription that would give you the ability to stream xCloud games to your TV and then just buy a controller. So it's something that we kind of thought was possible, and we've honestly seen it possible because people have sideloaded the xCloud app onto things like their NVIDIA Shields or even the Samsung TV with an Android tablet built into it.
Nothing. It doesn't entice me because there's nothing that I'm going to get a PS5 anyway. There's no game that they're going to have exclusively that's going to draw me to it.
That you know of yet. Remember, they have a crap load of studios that are making exclusives. They haven't announced all of those games yet.
That's fair. As of right now, me
Yeah.
saying it, there is nothing that entices me. Now, where they do it in the future, I could be swayed. I could be swayed easily. I'm very gullible.
Yeah, so in theory, instead of having to pay $300 for Series S or $500 for Series X, you could say, oh wait, you have Hillbilly dial-up, never mind.
Right now, that might soon change. So don't be
assuming you didn't have Hillbilly dial-up, you could get whatever the streaming stick is that Microsoft puts out and just basically pair a Bluetooth controller with it and play Xbox games streaming to your television.
I mean, as long as they have the exclusive and more down the line, it'd have to be more than just one.
That's fair. I was just letting you know that was going on. It's already part of the Game Pass subscription.
I am not a fanboy.
I understand that, Willie. I didn't call you a fanboy seriously ever.
I didn't say you.
Yeah,
I'm putting that out there.
I have called you a fanboy facetiously just to kind of get a laugh. That's it.
Just like you're an Xbox fanboy.
Says, yeah. Willie, I have all 3 consoles in my house right
Yeah,
now. I
I
have a
know
problem.
you're an Xbox fuckboy. We all know this.
Oh my. Oh
I
my.
thought
That's just titillating right there.
I'm touching mine right now.
Oh, gross.
And
Oh, gross.
you will come to know the name that is Aku.
What?
Samurai Jack reference. I fucked it up, but it's whatever.
Aren't you
Hey,
glad you came in for this, Anthony?
when you want a Samurai Jack live action movie,
Just in time.
Just in time.
that'd be cool. Samurai
I
Jack.
heard the word tits was going to be all good, and then Willie tries to do a bad
I
reference.
mean, it was titillating. I just like the word titillate.
I thought it would ruin it when I said I was touching mine, but it didn't.
That didn't help.
It was until after that.
It also doesn't help that we know you're not wearing pants right now. So,
Yeah, nope, no pants, just boxers.
It's all wrong. It's all wrong.
do you at least have a shirt on of some kind, Willie, or is it just your regular furry sweater?
Yeah, furry sweater.
So he's just hanging out in his boxer briefs and socks.
Hey, it's a beautiful day outside. It's gloomy. It's overcasted. The leaves are turning and falling.
So what you're saying is it's perfect napping weather.
You goddamn right.
I know. I took a good long nap yesterday, and it was absolutely delightful.
This is the perfect October weather right now, where I'm right now outside.
It really is.
When I used to walk to school, this would be my favorite days to go out and walk to school and come back home.
We are also lucky that we aren't in Minnesota right now, where they had snow last week, and I was like, I'm not ready for this.
Nice.
I'm not ready for this. No.
I want snow to come here. I want a big old just blizzard to blow.
Yeah,
on
but you don't
through.
get a ton of snow, do you?
I know. No,
Yeah,
not
that's
at all.
why.
Not enough.
I'm over it.
I like driving out in it because, first of all, it keeps most people out of it.
I wish
and
that was
two,
the case.
the assholes are out in it, I can make fun of while I'm driving out in it because I know how to drive in the snow. Even though I don't drive it often, just go as fast as you feel safe and comfortable that you are in control of the vehicle. That's all you got to do. If you're driving, you should know the feel of the vehicle, like how you're, how it's driving, how the traction is, and all that. You should have that feeling. If not, then what the hell are you doing on the road?
Some people don't have a choice. They got to work or something like that. Especially now that we're in the middle of a pandemic where they have to work, and if they don't, they'll be fired like that because someone else will want the job.
Well, then don't be out driving out in the snow like that. Just know how to drive. It's not, just learn how to. Some people just don't.
How are you going to learn how to drive if you don't do it?
Parking lots.
How are you going to get to the parking lot?
Someone drive you there, and they teach you.
So you've got to get someone to drive you to the parking lot.
Put in the effort, motherfucker. God damn. That's why I say in the bedroom.
Put in effort. Fair enough.
Exactly. Her name's Effort.
No, over there.
Well, welcome to the show, Bachman. I'm sure you're glad you came in for Willie's sex talk about what he does in the bathroom or bedroom.
I brought a friend.
The child.
Yeah, he's rocking a fanny pack that says "These used to be over" for Bradshaw, and he's wearing my salty sailor hat.
Okay, since you brought up Bradshaw.
Oh no.
Every time I see JBL now, and then wait a second, this is the same guy that was in the Acolytes. It doesn't look like the same. The face doesn't look the same.
It's
like
the haircut.
A different person.
Yeah, it's actually the haircut. That's what makes it look so different.
Face.
Because he used to keep his hair like wet and down on the sides, so when it was him and Ron Simmons standing next to each other, like they had almost the same amount of hair. So yeah, when he went from being Bradshaw to being JBL, he got the hair like coiffed and combed up to look like a rich dude, and that's what really it actually changes the shape of his face.
I got it. No, it's not that. It's that he's fucking smiling now. That's what it is. I just figured it out. When did you ever see Bradshaw ever smile in the Acolytes?
Only when they were playing poker. Yeah. Yeah. Only when they were playing poker.
Only in poker.
Like you never really saw him smile. I think that's what it is. I just had that thought just now. Like now he's always fucking smiling.
We're really on top of things because we're talking about John Bradshaw Layfield when he hasn't wrestled for 10 plus years now.
And poor Ron Simmons, who got turned into a catchphrase that's only one word, but makes a great meme.
Damn.
I remember the fucking Acolytes. You don't fuck with Acolytes.
The Acolyte Protection
I wonder how
Agency.
long Ron Simmons got a paycheck for saying one word. just like, every couple of weeks. Like, because there was a while he wasn't doing anything. They didn't have him wrestling. They didn't have him in promos. He wasn't like even part of a crew. The acolytes had been over forever, and he would just walk into an interview and go, "Damn!" and walk
This
out.
sounds like not another teen movie. The token black guy. I only got 3 things I get to say. Damn. Shit.
Yeah, it seems like his last movie, all he did, or his last couple years at WWE, all he did was just earn a paycheck for saying the word "damn."
Well, I think he was also a producer backstage too, so he was already there, and then they could just have him come and do that line.
I mean, can I get a paycheck for just doing that?
Yeah, no, I mean that's great. Especially, I mean, after all the years of wrestling that dude did. I'm not saying he was slacking. I'm saying like they were giving him a paycheck for doing a very small amount of on-camera work. But yeah, it was just funny because I mean, Ron Simmons was out there busting heads for like 30 years. Like that dude was doing some massive work for a long time. It was just weird that his last gimmick was just one word.
He's part of the reason why we have The Rock today.
That's true.
That's true.
Nation.
The Nation.
Farouk.
Yeah.
The Nation.
Yeah, Farouk for the
of
Nation.
Domination.
Turning little Rocky Maivia into the people's champ.
Mm-hmm.
And the villain that got cheered so loud they had to change into a face.
Yep. 90s WWF, man. There's crazy stuff that happened in there.
Why are we not talking about that more?
I mean,
why are we?
You know why? Because the AEW exists, and we don't need to talk about a wish fulfillment of wanting Attitude Era back because there's better wrestling on TV right fucking now.
Which we can get into at the end of the show because I want to talk about a certain dinner.
That tournament. Woo!
Yeah, I want to talk about a certain debonair dinner when we get to the end of the show because it was pretty awesome.
But we'll get into that when we get into that.
Yeah. So Bachman, you got some news for us? I didn't have the show notes up, but I want to check with you before we started moving on to anything else.
I do. The awesome technique used by Jon Favreau for making The Lion King and then The Mandalorian, which I believe we call it The Volume. Isn't that what it is? Yeah. So
that's LCD screen behind them.
Yeah, LED screens mixed with an Unreal game engine to where instead of waiting for CGI to be rendered on a green screen, what they are basically doing is having a game engine that can move with a character, render fully rendered CGI scenes that you can move through in an actual, physical room that the actors can stand in. So that basically they're inside of a CGI event as it's happening so that you're recording that and not having to go back and process anything later. The Volume, as it's been called, is now being termed Stagecraft by Industrial Light and Magic, and it is spreading. And it has spread all the way to London, where they are shooting The Batman. The Industrial Light and Magic, this is from a Hollywood Reporter article. Batman is using the Mandalorian virtual production techniques. Industrial Light and Magic's Rob Bredow offered an update during the Virtual View confab. He says, Warner Brothers' The Batman is currently filmed in the UK, is using virtual production techniques for select scenes. ILM Chief Creative Rob Bredow revealed Monday during feature session with this year's Virtual View Visual Effects and Animation Confab. The virtual production, a term generally used to describe techniques that enable real-time visual effects production, has been steadily growing in popularity with Jon Favreau due to Lion King and Mandalorian, where they use that. And then, it says that earlier this year, the VXS company launched Stagecraft, a virtual production unit built around the Mandalorian technique. So basically, ILM is now selling like a kit to where you can set up your version of the Volume wherever you're filming a movie, which means that basically they can cut down on post-CGI costs. Any place, any soundstage that can afford to set one up, once it gets up and running, you're just working inside of a virtual world that's real time. The actors can be alive in the scene, and it will cut down on a massive amount of post-production. I gotta figure these kits probably cost a pretty penny, which is why, it's like the Batman is apparently the first one to use one.
No, it's also on set for Thor: Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi's using it.
Yeah, and that's in here. Yeah, later. It says they also got it too.
I guess technically they haven't started filming yet, so the Batman has it before them. But the interesting thing there is Taika Waititi has experience using the Volume because he directed an episode of The Mandalorian.
Yep. Yeah, it says it will be also available at Fox Studio Australia, where it will be used during production for Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah, so they just haven't started yet. Mm-hmm. So we got one in London, we got one in LA, we got one in Australia. So pretty soon I gotta figure we're gonna get one in Vancouver, which is one of the biggest filming cities in the world. If you follow that up with Atlanta, then probably the 5 biggest cities that make films will have one, and people that can get access to it will be able to, make movies the way that they made the Mandalorian episodes, which could be really cool.
Well, we talked about it when we talked about Thor: Love and Thunder getting it. It also, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic era, makes life a lot easier because you don't have to take a huge film crew on location somewhere and set up for 20 days in the desert to film all of, like, say, the Tatooine scenes in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
No, you just do it all on set on the volume. You control your set with your testing, things like that. It's a smaller production crew probably. So in today's world where even if you wanted to, it's not exactly feasible to go on location for some stuff, you use something like the volume, assuming it's available to you, and also assuming that
Stagecraft. They will use Stagecraft.
Yeah.
So I have a question here.
Quest.
Now it has a name now, so we should use the name.
So you're saying this, they kind of use like video game technology to help with this, right?
Yeah, the way that they designed it, because they can move through the volume, and whichever way the camera looks at the screen, it can alter the perspective that's on the LED walls. It's some coding that they took from the Unreal Game Engine, to where, as you're walking around in an FPS and your character turns, you're not actually turning, the whole world turns and it renders itself. So they mix that with basically live action CGI to create the set of the volume Stagecraft.
I bring this up for a reason, so I can say fuck you to a dead person.
Oh,
Jeez.
Fuck you, Roger Ebert, for saying video games cannot be art. Fuck you, you dead motherfucker. I appreciate you in your world of movie critiquing. Fuck you for that statement.
Well, I don't know if this would necessarily lock down the opinion that video games are art, but it can be definitely shows that the techniques from video games are helping to create cinematic art.
Well, I still say video games can be art. I mean, look at some of the games we have now.
Yeah, I definitely believe they are.
That it's not shit like Roger Ebert didn't go play video games. I understand that. I don't fucking understand Picasso's Blue Period, but I wouldn't go around saying that's not art. Now, would I?
No. And Liberty Dude was talking about a little bit in the chat room, saying in part this would be a freaky experience as an actor potentially. And it was interesting because there's the documentary series, like what is it, the Director's Table or whatever they had on Disney Plus, that talks about all the behind the scenes of The Mandalorian. One of the episodes is all about what they were calling the volume. And what I recall is they talked to some of the actors and actually said it was easier to use that than it was to use green screen, because you're not having to look at an X marked on the wall to be like, here's what you're looking at. It's fully rendered on the LED screens around you. So you're looking at what your character's supposed to be looking at.
Well, and didn't they say during part of that at one point, someone on set thought there was a fire and it was literally a background element in the volume?
Yep.
That's how realistic it is. Yeah. So it's actually easier for the actors. They don't have to really pretend as much. They're in character. They're in their costume. They walk onto a sound stage where the wall is now the desert that they're supposed to be out in, and the floor is covered in sand and rocks because they're mixing the real life elements with the digital and the CGI. And as long as they don't turn around and look at the camera, like they're looking at a world that's basically fully rendered in front of them in real time. That has to be amazing.
And part of what was fascinating on that stuff is you don't have the full-blown Razor Crest on set. It's just the bottom part of it. It's the engine and stuff were all rendered by the volume. I think it's episode 4. If you get the chance, it's what's the name of the series? It's called Disney Gallery, Star Wars: The Mandalorian. If you have Disney Plus, episode 4 is all about the technology they use to film it, which is predominantly how they use the volume and what they're calling Stagecraft now to be able to create these worlds. It's fascinating and really interesting from a tech perspective.
The whole series is actually great for the whole making of The Mandalorian. If you've ever enjoyed DVD extras like I do, Blu-ray extras, behind the scenes stuff on making of films, the entire series is just fantastic.
Hold on a second. Chris, you threw out a term there. What is it? What's Razor Crest? Is that the edge of the screen?
No, that's the name of his ship.
Yeah, it's the Mandalorian ship.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking about that.
Yeah, so they didn't build the full physical ship. They built the bottom part where the ramp was that people would walk up, but then the rest of the ship was actually part of the background wall. And they lined up the physical element of the ship with the LED screen to where it basically just, the computer took over and drew the top half of it, but it looks like one solid object the way they do it. It's amazing.
And like they even did like the space fights and stuff like that. Like they put the actual fighters on set in the middle of the volume and then would render everything around it. So like when you see the scenes of the Mandalorian flying his spaceship with the child, that's not green screen outside the ship. That's the screen of the volume where they're actually rendering everything that would be going on around there. The technology, it's just incredible. And I think it's going to be a game changer in regards to budget for a lot of these things. And, well, let's be honest, Disney spent shitloads of money for special effects and things like that for The Mandalorian. But imagine how much more expensive it would have been if they were going on location for everything they did on there. It's
developing the technology. Whoever does it first, it always costs more. Whoever does it second can do it cheaper. It's just like those red cameras where all of a sudden everybody's like, hey, here's a $10,000 camera that can shoot as high def as anything that a 35 millimeter on-set production camera in Hollywood was doing. And all of a sudden you had a whole big influx of independent creators that were able to rent those red cameras because they were so less expensive. And now we got the Stagecraft, which I'm assuming, it's probably not exactly the volume. They probably figured out a way to make it basically a kit version of what they did on set for the volume, but it's a version of it that other people can now use. So, I mean, pretty soon, I have a feeling we're going to see where every major filming city is going to end up with one soundstage that has a volume, and it's going to make a lot of stuff that it'll have that, like the red camera, it'll still have a minimum, buy-in amount. But it's like if you can afford to rent the volume stage for a month, you might be able to shoot a movie that you couldn't afford doing without 3 times that budget because you got to go to all these different locations.
Yeah, and just point of clarification, it's Favreau that called it the volume on set. I guess it's always been called Stagecraft technology because I just found there was an article on Slash Film that I remembered reading that I just found the link for and tossed in the chat room for those that are interested. That is a bit more on the tech of it. They go way more in depth on it in the episode of the Disney Gallery on The Mandalorian, but it's really fascinating, and they put some interesting YouTube videos there of how the Unreal tech works with things on there. Fascinating stuff. What was the quote that Favreau said on here? He goes, "It also allowed us to actually have the environment in 3D so we could do virtual scouts. So we would have days where it would be the whole team. We'd have production designer, the DP, John, Dave Filoni, and we'd all be in headsets together flying around the same set. We can even put cameras up and down, put a lens up and say, okay, this is what I'm thinking, and we can all see it. So we're actually looking at it on a set together." That is really cool. And I apologize. That was Deborah Chow that said that quote. Apologies. Who's also going to be directing the Obi-Wan series, which I imagine will also be using Stagecraft technology.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't think about the idea that you can do, you put everybody in the trailers right outside that soundstage. You can do a fully locked down soundstage. And in the era of quarantine, like if you can afford the amount to use the Stagecraft, like that's gotta help because you're not having to fly people around. You're not going to multiple locations. If you can do everything in one place and just put everybody on lockdown for 6 weeks, if all you're doing is filming, then that's got to be helpful.
Can you imagine being like Ewan McGregor coming back to play Obi-Wan Kenobi again and knowing he's supposedly going to be on Tatooine and knowing he doesn't have to go out in the middle of the GD desert now?
Yeah.
So now he's like, oh, we're going to be in an air-conditioned building where it's going to be a lot cooler and I'm not sweating my ass off.
In Africa again? Yeah. He's got to be really happy about that.
Can't believe Chris just cursed live on air like that.
I curse on occasion.
GD.
Language. Gosh darn.
Are we going to skip over the fact that Chris just said language?
All right, I think that does wrap us up for our news in this week's episode. Did anyone have anything else? Going once? Twice?
That wraps us up, just like, was that Shang?
Really doesn't wrap it up.
Oh, Shang-Chi did wrap filming. That is correct.
Wrap production?
Yes. They're now in post-production.
Oh, I'm so excited to see that one.
Yeah, but we actually have to have movie theaters before we can see it, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah,
well, it's also too because they did launch the new series, and one of the first things they did in the new comic was they gave him a new background for who his dad is.
Interesting.
Because for those that don't know, infamously in the Marvel comics in the 60s, Shang-Chi is basically just Bruce Lee in the Marvel Universe. That was their version of Bruce Lee during the Kung Fu exploitation period where everybody was making Kung Fu characters. Marvel invented Shang-Chi. And they, like, most of the time when people draw him, they will even still use Bruce Lee as the reference because that's who the character is. But his dad was famously Fu Manchu. which has a whole lot of racial overtones and is, I think, now a public character. And so they also can't use it because it's, I mean, Marvel wants to be able to sell their books, so they don't want to have a publicly available character. They want their own IP. So they came up with a new story for who Shang-Chi's father is in the comics now.
I got confused. When you said Fu Manchu, I thought you meant Fing Fang Foom.
No.
Like,
Not
what?
quite. Not quite. No, Fu Manchu with the crazy...
You can see, I mean, that's easy to get mistaken with the 3 syllables starting with an F.
Both created in the 60s.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there's some racial overtones that probably wouldn't go off too well with the old Fu Manchu stories, so they had to figure out how to avoid that. So yeah, they're telling in the new Shang-Chi comic, they figured out he's got a new family history.
That makes sense. It'll be interesting to see. I want to see that movie, but we actually have to have movie theaters open, and we know at the very least that we have to have Black Widow come out and at least get like 3 months of a window before they put something else out after that.
Chris,
yes.
Is Movie Pass, did they start charging yet again? I hope not.
Charging for what?
So they haven't started charging again because they put that pause.
What are you talking about?
The Movie Pass thing.
I assume that I paid a year up front, so I don't know. But since Regal Cinemas is closed nationwide with a few exceptions, I don't think they're charging right now.
I wasn't sure how much they have opened up or not. I wasn't sure.
It's only a few small cinemas that are open, and there's a lot of independent movie theaters that are open right now if you want to brave that. And more interestingly enough, if you have an AMC near you, supposedly a lot of AMCs now are letting you rent a theater for $95. So that's a bit more palatable if you have a few people you trust. Rent out the theater, go wipe down the chairs you're going to sit in, go watch your movie, mask up, and leave again.
Yep.
But you have to bring in your own movie, don't you?
I don't think so. I think it was
a lot of them are letting you choose from classic films. Like there's places that are doing that with like The Exorcist, or they're showing Jaws, or they're showing like old Halloween movies for this month. But yeah, you rent out a theater and then pick the movie you want to watch.
Can I just come plug my Xbox in and play video games for 3 hours on the giant screen?
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, no, Jeff Tate, who's a feature comedian on Douglas Movies, he just did a showing in Cleveland where he rented out a theater, did a contest for 10 people that all came in, or it was 10, pairs of people, so 20 people. He did a little contest. People won this trivia thing. They got to come to a theater. They all got to see Tenet. He rented the whole theater for $100 or $150, and like they all sat, 30 feet apart because there was only 20 of them, 10 little groups, and they rented out the whole theater and then watched Tenet.
You know what? I'm gonna say fuck AMC though.
Okay then. Thanks.
I mean, because they
all right, you do that.
We're never gonna show another Universal movie because they released that Trolls movie on VOD without coming to theaters. What the fuck did you want them to do? Jesus Christ!
Since we're talking about Universal, just to wrap up news stories, not Final Fantasy, Fast and the Furious ends with the installment 11. We only get 11 Fast and the Furiouses, guys.
So far.
No, they said that's the end of Fast and the Furious. Now all the spin-offs will continue from there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they said they was going to end at 5 as well, but we'll see.
And they are bringing back Justin Lin to direct episodes 10 and 11.
Yeah.
Justin Lin's going to take into space, and once we get Fast and Furious on the moon, we'll see how much money it makes. And if it makes enough money, I'll tell you, we're getting a 12. We're getting a 12. They're going to join Leprechaun and Jason in space.
Are we going to count spinoffs?
The spinoffs are a separate thing, is my understanding.
More spinoffs, and I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
There's going to be a whole catalog of movies called The Fast and Furious Presents, which is
okay. Because Hobbs and Shaw was effing fun, all right?
Hobbs and Shaw was a good time.
It was fun.
It was a fun movie.
No, is it a great movie? No, but it's one of those summer popcorn movies. You're like, I just had a blast watching this. I don't care if it doesn't make sense. It was just fun.
Shaw in space. Shaw space prediction.
This does wrap up our news part. Now that Willie's done cackling to himself, this does wrap up our news portion of the show. We'll wrap things up with a segment called What I'm Into. It's our chance to share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date the kind of geeky and nerdy things we've been getting into, so that maybe, just maybe, you may want to go check them out yourselves. Willie, why don't you start us off with what you've been getting into?
It better fucking be titled The Shaw Space Redemption. That's what I got.
God.
What did I put? The
I'm
title
gonna go
right
ahead
now
and
was
guarantee it's not called that. I'm gonna go
It
ahead
would
and
be
call it and say
the
it's not
blood
called that.
the Shaw
I mean,
Space
look,
Redemption. Is that what you want it to
they
be
did
called?
the fate of the 8. So I mean, is that really out of?
No, it's the Fate of the Furious.
Oh yeah, Fate of the Furious, which was the 8th one. So 8,
Yeah.
yeah. So the whole play on. So give me that. But
Oh no, the 10th one's gonna be Fast X 10 or Fast X Furious.
I don't
so this
know.
last time I did the what I'm into, Jackbox 7 came out, had some fun with it. You guys had some fun with it. Well, Chris had some fun with it. Bachman's always a party pooper.
That's
with
me.
those. Yeah, no one likes a party pooper. Then you learn anything from Letterkenny? But been playing. I played the new mode of Ghost of Tsushima, and it's a fun mode. I'm glad it's just a free addition to it. Nothing about it. What's it begin to? More Dead by Daylight. Back to rank 1.
You've been doing your daily logins starting yesterday?
So are you asking, did I log in yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes, I logged in and played yesterday. And I'm pretty sure I will do that again today. Tomorrow,
they're doing that through, I think, November 4th. And if you log in the whole time, you end up getting it's something like 300,000 blood points and 9,000 shards, which is enough to buy any of the Halloween costumes. Because people were pissed because the new Halloween event isn't a fucking event.
Wait.
It's literally just a battle pass.
You can buy the Halloween costumes with shards?
Some of them.
Cells? Oh.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah. They put some of the older ones on where they're 70% off for Oryx cells, like the Trapper's original Halloween outfit. I think possibly Legion's first one. I can't remember all of them, but they put there's a list on the news when you pop in the game. If you open up the news window, there's a list of sets that are 10% off, 20, 30, and then I think there's like 5 or 6 on the 70% off list. And then they also made it to where the new ones, the brand new costumes for this year, are all available for the shards. And so if you, like someone like you, Willie, who has a ton of shards saved up, you might be able to just go buy a couple of those costumes right now.
8,000 of them?
It's 9,000 shards for one of those costumes to buy the whole thing, I believe.
Yeah,
was what the ad said.
New characters for 9,000 shards. Or you can spend 21,000 and buy a cosmetic. How does that pricing make sense to anybody?
Yeah, it doesn't. Their stores always sucked.
Yeah, I will always say that about behavior in Dead by Daylight. Like, come on, that's fucking stupid. What else have I been doing? I had a birthday last week.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had fun. The next day, I had to take a friend of mine to an airport about an hour and a half away, and I got to go pick them up Monday. I got to drive an hour and a half to go pick them up to bring them back.
Yeah.
And about that, man, I can't think of anything else I've been doing. I did rewatch The Addams Family because I forgot the storyline. I didn't forget it completely.
So the original movie or
original movie,
okay.
Original 1991 movie. Yeah, there was because the thing I always mistaken so they just randomly got Uncle Fester, a person to pretend he's Uncle Fester, and he actually turned out to be Uncle Fester. Yeah, when I rewatched it, that was a throwaway line at the very end of the movie. It's like, oh wait, you really are Uncle Fester.
Sounds about right.
Throwaway line at the very end. Like, you're supposed to just go with, oh, she really did find you in that thing. Well, how about that?
So, if you enjoyed that, Willie, I found out just by accident last night when I was on the Pluto TV app that there is now an Addams Family channel in the classic television section of Pluto TV. So I just started watching a bunch of reruns of the Addams Family.
I mean, I was a fan that in the movie that the judge that lived next door to the Addams Family in the movie was the original Gomez Addams.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice. I instantly recognized, hey, that's Gomez Addams.
And Raul Julia was fantastic as Gomez.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was even fantastic in the Street Fighter movie.
Sadly, that's the last movie he got to do was Street Fighter.
I know.
So talented.
At least he had a good reason for doing it because his kids. So you can't really be angry at him.
No, you're 100% right. His kids enjoyed it, so that's why he did it. That's a cool reason to do it. Which is why the first actor who played Dumbledore took the role was because his grandkids liked Harry Potter.
Was he only in the first movie?
He was in the first 2 or 3 before he passed away, I believe.
Sure.
Richard Harris, I think, was the actor's name. I'm not 100% sure.
Now let's see what J.K. Rowling's retroactively makes Dumbledore to be after the fact.
Yeah, let's not talk about J.K. Rowling right now.
It doesn't change anything for anybody.
Yeah.
Not a part of the story. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. Let's continue on. I'm done.
All right, so I'll go next. Last week on
Tuesday.
Tuesday, Willie's done. He keeps talking over me. I love it. So last week on Tuesday, played some Among Us with the Gonna Geek Network and friends. It was a lot of fun. Willie still hasn't gotten to be the killer. I'm sorry, Willie.
Foster.
That's same difference in this case. I think we're going to play again this Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So anyone watching us or listening now that wants to come play, hit us up on social media. We'll get you the info on how you can come play Among Us with us. That's probably terrible grammatically, but whatever. Watched every bit or all 5 episodes of Volume 2 of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix. It's not as good as Volume 1. They had better mysteries in that one. A lot of these ones seem to come down to shoddy police work is why they haven't figured things out, which is kind of disappointing. Let's see. Other stuff. I downloaded Rainbow Six Siege on my Xbox because it was just added to Game Pass. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but everyone says it's really good. Since I have Game Pass, I played Wolfenstein Youngblood last night, which is a co-op Wolfenstein game where you play as BJ's kids. I've enjoyed it so far. Just my partner wasn't very good, so I kept having to go back and resurrect my partner and didn't progress very far. That was disappointing. Other stuff. Watched on Wednesday night another new episode of AEW Dynamite. I had a blast with it. They're doing a tournament right now to set up who's going to be the number 1 contender for the title. And Kenny Omega's slow burn heel turn is just delightfully enjoyable, where his entrance took longer than the match he was in because they announced all of his awards and then followed it up with, and he once wrestled in North Carolina. And I just laughed my ass off because if you're familiar with Kenny Omega, until he became part of Dynamite and AEW rather, he didn't wrestle in North America really. He was huge in Japan and was arguably the number 1 free agent. And now he wrestles here, and he wrestled in North Carolina once.
Hey, that's where I am.
Japan. Poor Sonny Kiss.
Yeah. Well, you knew that was going to happen. That's all set up to do Hangman versus Kenny Omega.
As soon as I looked at the brackets, I was like, oh, this is Hangman versus Kenny the tournament. Okay.
I'm okay with that. The pay-per-view they have coming up, I'm buying it again because it's going to be really good. All of the matches. Their Eddie Kingston and an I Quit match against John Moxley. I'm totally in.
Yeah.
They say where in North Carolina?
They did not. It was just a throwaway line of he once wrestled in North Carolina. And then Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy doing a cinematic match in the Elite Deletion. Yeah, I'm totally buying their pay-per-view on, I think, November 6th it is. Yeah, I'm in. I'll pay my $50 and I'll watch it and be plenty happy about that. And then the thing I probably enjoyed the most about Dynamite this week, which was dumb but also incredibly entertaining, was Chris Jericho and one Maxwell Jacob Friedman had their steak dinner, Le Dinner Debonair, where they sang a musical number of In My Shadow. And it was hilarious. I did not know that...
no, they didn't just sing. They did a song and dance number.
Yes. And MJF has a really good singing voice. And we found out that he was, on Twitter, said that he was like an all-state tenor or something like that.
That doesn't surprise me.
His voice was better than Jericho's. And Jericho's the lead singer in a rock band.
In all fairness, Jericho sings heavy metal, not like crooner tunes. So, but yeah, it was one of those things. Like I never knew I always wanted something as dumb as this because it was perfect. Like for those 2 characters, it was perfect. Le
Dinner Debonair. It is available to watch on YouTube. They put the whole thing up there, and it's just delightfully dumb, entertaining, but fun. And I can't wait to see where they go with it. But I have to admit, so I'm biased. I'm an MJF mark and a Jericho mark. So pretty much anything they do, I'm like, this is gold. I love it. Fully admit. But yeah, so Dynamite was really good, continues to be good. If you were a lapsed professional wrestling fan, I would say give it a try, and you'll probably like it, because it took everything that I didn't care for in modern WWE, like overproduced, scripted out promos, and they threw it out the window, where these guys just basically go cut a promo like it used to be in the old days. You have to get to this point where you're going to set up the match, cut the promo however you want. And it's really delightful to see some of these guys, how creative they are. And some of the creativity you see in the ring, although sometimes that's to their detriment, because the Lucha Bros match It was really good, but they're telling some spots like, man, someone's gonna get hurt, and that's how Ray Phoenix
and
got
that's
hurt.
what happened. Yeah, he did get hurt, but that was a hell of a match. They beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
And like the reversals of moves that they know the other one uses, two, brothers that have been wrestling together for like 20 years now, and like to make them face off, like, oh, some of the shit they did was just amazing. But yeah, that whole match looked painful.
Yeah. So it's delightful. If you haven't had a chance, you can watch a lot of their stuff on YouTube. They have a YouTube show called Dark, where it's generally somewhere between 10 to 12 matches they do each week that go straight to YouTube. And they take a lot of their highlights of Dynamite and put it on YouTube as well. And I guess the last thing I should talk about this week is I successfully mailed in my ballot and got confirmation that my ballot was received by the West Virginia Secretary of State. And as I checked this morning, 54 million people had already voted in the United States as of this morning. And I'm not going to go political and tell you who to vote for or anything like that, but I'm going to say, go vote. There's a lot of things at stake right now. Whoever your opinion is on who it should or shouldn't be, I don't care. Go vote and make your voice be heard. Voter turnout is a huge thing, and I love seeing the fact that we're up to 54 million people that have voted already. There's people I follow on Twitter, like comic book writer Matt Miner, who was posting pictures of his wait to go vote early in New York. And yesterday he was in line for 2 hours and had to go leave to go do something else. And came and got back in line today and it's like, the line's actually longer, but moving quicker. And talking about interesting things like, as people are lining up down the block, there were a few folks that had put chairs out in their front yard and some books and said that were spaced out appropriately and said, hey, feel free to sit down and take a break while you're waiting in line. Just don't take our chairs. Cool stuff like that. So all I'm going to say to you guys, go vote. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably know my own views, but this show is not the platform for that. I'm just going to say, go vote. Have your voice be heard so that if things don't go the way you want, you at least tried and you can legitimately then voice your dissent versus being someone who doesn't vote, then bitches about it after the fact.
Yep. If you waste your vote, you don't vote, that's on you.
And if you're in a state that it's probably too late to request absentee ballots in most states at this point in time.
Yeah,
so
look
into, a lot of places are still doing early voting, and you can find that you can probably find that on your state's Secretary of State's website, where the early voting locations and stuff are, or go to ballotpedia.org and iwillvote.com. Those should all have information about the ballots themselves and voting locations. So please, please, please go vote. And if someone's offended I'm saying this, sorry, this is my platform to at least be able to say that. I'm not going to go any deeper into who you should and shouldn't vote for. Just please vote. Anthony, why don't you wrap things up for us?
So now I want us to do a political tirade.
So I understand that motivation. It's just this isn't the right platform for it. If that's something people want to discuss with us, that can be a post-show thing or something like that. But it doesn't need to be part of this because we sort of discussed this at one point. This should be a place that's safe from coming in here and hearing all about me doom scrolling Twitter and things like that. We just want to try and make this positive and talk about fun things, not the potential end of days.
Let's see. I finished all 10 episodes of Hellstrom on Hulu. First season turned out really good. They don't go full like comic booky. They made it much more of a supernatural show. Having Hellstrom, his sister, and his mom all have like basically superpowers. It's a whole bunch of interwoven demonic storyline craziness. By the end of the series, they do end up giving a nod to his weapon from the comics, and the way they do it is really cool. It's really unexpected. It's not something that looks like it's going to show up, because in the comics, I think the spear he carries is actually like the trident of Lucifer, and so it's like, well, there's no way something that awkward is going to show up on a show that's like basically designed to be fully realistic. But yeah, they end up doing like a kind of nod to it. It was really cool, really unexpected. The acting in the show is really solid. Special effects are good. Some of the demon stuff they do is really gross. Really fits for the season. Like if you're up for some Halloween craziness, some supernatural stuff, like it's a good show. It's definitely creepy. It's not kid friendly. It's very adult. But yeah, it's a lot of psychology and dealing with people in a mental hospital and possession by demons. Bunch of crazy stuff. But yeah, it's a fun, entertaining show. I really enjoyed it. Then yeah, for the spooky season, watching some stuff. I watched Halloween Town for the first time with my girlfriend because she's a big fan and I hadn't seen that one. It was kind of kiddie but cute. And then I realized that I don't think I'd ever actually sat down and watched Hocus Pocus all the way through. And so we sat down and watched that the other night and had a good laugh. It's still still holds up pretty good. It's a nice another, fairly kiddie, but much more like family friendly on the level where it wasn't so kid friendly. It was more, for the whole family. But yeah, that was a funny one. And then that was another horror movie I watched. No, I can't remember. But yeah, just watching horror movies. It's the season for it. Going back and watching, Nightmares and catching. Oh yeah, we caught a Thriller on AMC's Stephen King marathon.
Nice.
So watched the end of Silver Bullet and Thriller or Thinner, and then yeah, just AMC during the holidays. You gotta love it because they show much love for the Halloween movies, all the different scary stuff. So yeah, watched so much of that, and then yeah, playing all the different game modes or the games I'm playing. Most of them kicked off a game mode that has something to do with the holidays. Yeah, Dead by Daylight is now giving out blood points and blood shards to make up for the fact that they actually did not do an event this year. They just added in new costumes and started the next archive. And Archive 5 has, Halloween themed stuff in it, but it's technically a battle pass. So you have to pay for it. So it's not an event. So most of Reddit and Twitter was just people complaining at behavior for like 2 straight days. And then all of a sudden, hey, we got a blood rush coming out the weekend of Halloween. And here's free blood points from every day that you log in from like October 3rd or October 23rd to November 4th. And yeah, like I said, like it's enough where if you log in every day, you end up with enough blood shards to buy one of the new outfits. So they actually made it to where it's not technically an event still, but at least if you log in every day, you can earn a free Halloween outfit, which every year at Halloween, they've given us something that we could earn in the game. And it's like, that's how you get people to play your game is like give them something they can earn where they don't necessarily have to drop $20 to buy a cosmetic, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because yeah, the store in behavior is one of the worst of any game I've ever played. Like the sheer amount of money that they charge, like Willie said, you can save up blood shards and you get like 200 and change every time you level up. And if you can spend 9,000 to buy a character, which, a DLC pack, usually you're talking, $10-20 to buy a character or something like that. But they have cosmetics in the store that cost 21,000 shards.
That's insane.
So you're telling me, yeah, a costume for a character is worth like 3 times what a character's worth? Like that's crazy. And so yeah, like they really need to like reconfigure their pricing matrix in their store. But yeah, with the new archive going and the free stuff they're doing, and they also did a bunch of giveaways. There's code words on Twitter and on Reddit that I found for getting new charms that are holiday charms, and then a bunch of streamers were given a bunch of codes to give out. And one of the really annoying things is that now, because you can redeem a code in the PlayStation Store, in the Xbox Game Store, it's in the store inside Dead by Daylight, but you can do it on Xbox, you can do it on PlayStation, you can do it on PC. But the codes they're giving out are like 32 characters long. They've got hyphens in them, and they're a random string of letters and numbers. And so when a streamer gives out a code, it's good for 10 people to use it. So like yesterday, Puppers was giving out, he had like 1,500 codes to give out, which meant he had 150 codes and each one could be used 10 times. So he puts a code up on the screen. I'm sitting here typing it into my computer and 10 people are getting it typed in before me. And you know what that guarantees is that the people that are trying to type it into an Xbox and PS4 will never get those codes because only people that are on PC are going to get them, which is kind of a dick move by behavior because, they'll do codes where it's like, Eternal Blight. And like, that's one of the codes to get the little pumpkin charm. But then the ones that they give to the streamers are these fucking random text chain fucking they're ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. And it basically just guarantees that only people on PC will get them, which, I have one account on PC. I have another account on PS4. So, hey, I got a Dwight charm yesterday on my PC account. I won't be getting it on my PS4 because I know I'll never be able to type one of those codes in before 10 people on PC can type it in. So it's definitely a screwed up system they got going right now, which, hey, it's behavior. Big shocker. The good news, though, was that Apex launched Fight or Fright again, their new holiday Halloween event. The only thing they screwed up on their store is all the costumes are in bundles. So, like, one of the costumes I wanted, it's a bundle of 4 skins, 2 skins for guns, and 2 skins for characters. And I already owned 3 of the 4 skins. And it's like, well, I don't want to buy the one just for the 1 skin. Like, so that kind of sucks. But the Halloween event itself is awesome. Last year, the problem they had was you dropped into a match of 60 solos, and when you died, you turned into a zombie, which is awesome because you could run fast, you climb over walls, and you attack people with claws. You don't have a gun anymore. but like you're super quick, and it's actually kind of terrifying because you can hear them coming. They make noise. And so when it got down to the last 10 people, those 10 people tried to get to a drop ship and escape. And so it's supposed to end up being 50 versus 10, where you have 50 zombies trying to attack those 10 legends as they're escaping. Well, what would happen was near the end of the season, when people they'd already got the wins that they wanted, and they didn't want to play zombie, basically lazy assholes would just disconnect as soon as they got turned into a zombie because there was no penalty. And so at the end of the game, you have 10 legends with guns shooting 14 zombies. And it just didn't work for the game mechanic. And so it made it, by the end of the event last year, it ended up being a lot less fun because people just wouldn't finish playing the match. They would just disconnect. So this year they made it to where it's still 20 teams of 3, which is the standard for Apex. But when one person on your team dies, if you don't get them up while they're down, if they actually die and get boxed, they turn into a zombie and respawn. But then they can run over and join your team and then help protect the living legends. And so you're seeing a lot of wins where at the end of the game, you have one living legend and 2 zombie protectors. And like if that legend gets knocked, one of the zombies can resurrect them and bring them back up. And there's a new resurrection animation that's really cool where you're like the zombies like doing like a voodoo curse to like bring them back up from the ground. And like it's really cool looking. But yeah, they made it to where now like if you leave, you're leaving your team. And so they're, like any game, there's always still assholes that occasionally as soon as they go down, they disconnect. But it's much more infrequent. And so almost every match I've been in, like when it comes down to the last couple of teams, at least 1 or 2 members on that team is a zombie. And so you've got people trying to protect their live legends while they're in zombie mode. And so you have these zombies running around in circles trying to protect somebody. And then they also added in pets. If someone's alive long enough, they get one of the prowlers in zombie mode. So you have these giant, like oversized kind of cougars that are in like the zombie black and white flame animatic. And they're like running around attacking stuff. Just they made it super cool. It's Kings Canyon after dark again, but yeah, just super fun. The badges are much more easier to earn this time. You get kill count for every person you kill as a zombie or a legend. So like the one badge is 100 kills, and I think after 2 days I have like 70 some odd kills in that mode. So it's just super fun. And then yeah, they've been teasing their next character in season 7, which I guess is coming November 4th. So some people are a little angry because I guess they actually took 4 days off the battle pass and didn't mention it. They sped up when season 7 is going to launch, and so there's actually less time for people to finish the battle pass, which on Apex usually isn't a problem, but it's 110 levels of their battle pass, so like it takes a little bit longer than the Dead by Daylight one. But usually I want to say they give us 90 days to do it, and this time they're cutting it short because they're actually launching their next season early. And so yeah, a couple people I saw on Reddit and Twitter and stuff were mad because like they're launching it early. They moved up the date when that launches, but they didn't mention the fact that they're doing that by cutting the battle pass short. And so some of us, like I'm like level like 89 or something, the battle pass. So with the battle pass in Apex is it's the important part of getting to level 100 is you get the gun skin for the season. And then level 110, you get a recolor of that gun skin, and they're all animated. They're animated gun skins. So the types where when you shoot somebody, the gun does something. And then as you get more and more kills, the gun becomes more animated. So it's a really cool skin because, I mean, a lot of times, like, some of them, like, shoot fire. Some of them get more bright. Some of them, like, there was a Peacekeeper set that was blood crystals. Another one was ice crystals, and it got more crystallized. So they're really cool-looking guns. But, yeah, it's like, okay, I got to kind of rush and get this blood pass done, but I also want to play the event. And nothing I do in the event counts towards the battle pass. So now, right now, it's like pick and choose what you want to play on Apex, but it's making me want to fucking play Apex. I mean, they're doing that part right. But yeah, the Halloween stuff in the games, I mean, every year it's kind of sad that I like the Apex one better than Dead by Daylight. I think Dead by Daylight should have Halloween should be their thing. It's a horror game. Their event should start October 1st and run through fucking November 1st, and they never do it. They always fall short. But I'm going to keep hoping. I'm going to keep crossing my fingers that one of these years, Behavior is going to give us an actual Halloween event that lasts a month long and is terrifying and is awesome.
God willing.
Keep hoping. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, just watching horror movies, enjoying the spooky season. Oh yeah, we carved pumpkins last night. Yeah, me and my girlfriend went to my buddy's house. I forgot. Carved pumpkins. I have to go take a photo of mine. I tried to carve the Dead by Daylight logo into a pumpkin, and it basically, because it takes the middle out, like my pumpkin's kind of like closing like a mouth. So
Nice.
it's the structure is not helpful. I might need to find like some toothpicks or something to hold it up. But yeah, it didn't turn out too bad. And then Jana carved a bat in hers, which looks pretty good. And yeah, I was hanging out with my buddy's kids, James and Grayson. They kind of Grayson did the cheat one. He put an eyeball and an eyebrow on a pumpkin and called it a minion. There was a little pumpkin kit that was like a Mr. Potato Head where you basically just stick an eyeball on it.
Yeah.
But it's
That
good
works.
for a 3-year-old.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's good for a 3-year-old. We're not trusting him with a knife.
No. So I need
It was a good evening.
I need to clarify something. I misspoke earlier when I said 54 million people have voted. I double checked. It is up to 58.6 million people as of 2 hours ago. And how I know
Nice.
that, and this is just so you can educate yourself, if you follow @Elect Project on Twitter, that is Michael McDonald, who is tracking all of the ballots in progress. He's a professor at the University of Florida who specializes in American elections. His numbers seem to be pretty consistent. That's what a lot of people are basing it off of for number of votes and things like that. He's even got information that he's found out, like the number of votes in day one in New York and things like that. Like day one in New York City was 93,000 votes cast.
Nice.
Yeah, so
and I
it's
was
really
gonna-
interesting.
I was going to mention as well, if you want to track stuff like that or you're trying to find your local information, I know we have idahovotes.gov here. I'm not positive, but I think if you just type in the name of your state and the word votes into Google, it will take you to a website like that. Because I'm not sure if every state has the state name votes.gov, but I think most of them do.
Your best bet right now is iwillvote.com. I specifically said .com because .org is owned by one of the campaigns, so I'm not endorsing anyone there. But iwillvote.com will basically let you put in, once you go there, you have options. I'm bringing it up
Put
right
in like
now.
your zip code or something.
Yeah, it says let's vote. You select where you're a resident of, find voting or drop off locations, check if I'm registered to vote, or vote by mail. And then they have a text hotline you can call. They have a 1-800 number you can call if you need help. So look at
Nice.
iwillvote.com if you are looking for information on where you go. Make sure you're registered, although I think registration dates have passed in most places.
For most places, yeah. I think there's some states that still allow you to register as you vote, but very few.
Very
I think
few.
that's been kind of gotten rid of.
Yeah. So that's the information on that. I believe that does wrap us up. Did anyone have any final thoughts for us before we shut this thing down? Anyone?
Boxer briefs are best.
I'm sorry, what was that, Willie?
Boxer briefs are best.
Oh, we're back to that.
Willie's back to underwear talk.
Well, we were talking underwear in the pre-show. It was how we captivated people and ran off someone who just popped into our chat room, I think.
Oh well.
Yeah, okay.
It happens.
Well, on that note, then, I think we are about ready to shut this down. A big thank you to everyone that did join us today. Don't forget, we stream live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, over on geeks.live, the official streaming home of the Gonna Geek Network. So please come check out our show. Check out any of the other shows that are on the network. If you're on geeks.live now, you can scroll down to the bottom of the page, see a calendar of all of the upcoming live events. Last chance for any final thoughts, guys.
Sorry I was late.
Hey, it happens,
phone.
man. On that note, we are going to shut things down, and we look forward to seeing you guys next Sunday or on Tuesday for Among Us. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek Radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.